Analytics at Affine, and he will be talking about his perspective, like how we should look for AI as a career choice, and he's having more than a decade experience in this field. I request Ravi to please take it forward.
Sure. Thank you, Satish, for the wonderful introduction. So, guys, as Satish gave the background, right? So, I am part of Affine. Affine happens to be a AI first company. So, we create AI solutions for multiple business problems across multiple verticals. Now, I happen to lead the practice for manufacturing, right? So, my job is working with manufacturers day in, day out. This could be discrete manufacturers, this could be process manufacturers, this could be batch manufacturers, right? And idea is what problem statements can we solve using AI and few of the other technology components, right? So that's my background at Affine. And personally, I have close to around 14 years of experience. I've been working in analytics industry for more than a decade right now. I've also started off as an entrepreneur in between and created a consumer internet company, and now working with Affine for last 2 years, right? And I would want to start off with thanking JMA for providing this platform to share my point of view on how AI is taking off, and definitely how it presents as a career choice for a lot of young individuals, and also for folks who want to shift their already well-doing careers to the AI pathways. All right. Uh, with that, I will start with a quote from Albert Einstein: "The measure of intelligence is the ability to change." Right. So we are in a very dynamic world. It The world after COVID has definitely changed a lot of consumer behaviors. It has accelerated a lot of digital adoption within the companies, and AI happens to be one of those levers within the digital adoption, which is the flag bearer, right? So idea for today is not to give a monologue coming from me, but at any given point, if the the people who are attending this, right, want to have or raise any questions, right, they can definitely raise it, and I will definitely take a look at it and then probably uh, address them at the end of the session, right? So this is for a 45 minutes total, where probably I will talk for 25 to 30 minutes. I will hear the questions and respond to them, right? A few of the takeaways, or the way I've structured this session at this point is, what is AI? I want to just touch upon what is AI, what is intelligence, right? That we keep talking about. What are the applications of AI in different industries? Some of the work which we have done at Affine, which clients have really loved. And then definitely, how does the career shape for people who are looking for jobs in AI? Where are the jobs? What kind of jobs? What kind of skill sets are required? What geographies offer what? What are the salaries, right? And eventually, where is this all going, right? So if you happen to get into AI, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, where is AI world going, right? So with that, I'll just quickly try to spin my own definition of AI. Again, AI is a very broad and loosely used term a lot of times. So again, I will try to define it from my perspective. Even before defining AI, I would like to throw some remarks on what is intelligence, right? What is human intelligence first? If we can put some kind of boundaries around this definition, then definitely we can use it for artificial intelligence definition, right? So intelligence is all about our ability to think, to reason before doing any action or performing any action, right? So it's like if I'm hungry for the lunch, right? Most of you might be right now. So if I'm looking at a food item, whether do I consume it, is it gone bad, is it good, is it high on calories, I can reason it out with myself, right? And this is based on previous historical data, what I've seen with this, right? So my brain has stored a lot of this data. So last time I had apple, probably I felt good, so good to have apple. Last time I had something with Loki, I didn't like it, so I won't prefer a Loki, right? That's intelligence, right? Now, in context of artificial intelligence, when I give the same human intelligence or try to replicate the same human intelligence for decision making and for reasoning and want to give it to a machine, right? That's what the AI world is all about. So I want the machines to understand, interpret, reason, and take actions based on that. Now, this could happen through a vision sensor. This could happen from a tabular data. This could happen from a speech. This could happen from a text, right? We've still not figured out smell though. But those are one of the that is one of the sensory organs which we're not yet able to decipher. But all the other sensory organs we are able to decipher pretty well, right? So I'll just move ahead and quickly break down what all constitutes artificial intelligence, right? So these are different algorithm baskets, right, which usually uh, is what AI is referred to as, right? So if you're looking at any AI application in your mobile application or your web application or in your company in an enterprise application, generally one of these algorithm engines are working in the backend, right? So starting with the first one, which is around predictive analytics, right? So a simple example would be if you go to Amazon, buy, let's say, a phone X, they will also suggest you something else along with it. You buy a product A, they will suggest you something as B and C. Why would they suggest? How would they suggest? Basically, what they've done is they've seen a lot of historical data. People who buy product A also have a high tendency to buy B and C, and that's why they're recommending you. So how does that work? Again, they have a lot of historical data. They're running predictive analytics on top of that, and then they're showing the result based on that. Right? That's the world of predictive analytics, and deep learning is more around using more and more data and neural networks, right? So even for your computer vision kind of a challenge, you tend to use a lot of deep learning. I'll talk about it in some time. Next is around text to speech or speech to text, right? One simple example would be you would use Siri, you would use Google search. You can also for folks who are using TV with speech, right? When you speak, the TV is able to detect what program you want to watch, right? So there's some kind of AI engine working at the back end, which is trying to decipher what did you just say and try to match it with right words and try to bring out the right program to you. It works the other way around as well. Third would be around machine vision or image recognition, right? This has a lot of applications in manufacturing specifically. So if you want to automate QC or quality inspection, this could be one of the best ways to do it. So generally what happens is if let's say you're manufacturing steel or rubber or any particular item or material, generally there is a QC operator who is at the end of the line who inspects the product and says there is defect or no defect. If defect, what kind of defect it is, right? Now same thing can be taught to a AI engine which is enabled through a lens, a camera, and a lighting system. And then once the image is acquired, enough amount of images are acquired and annotated saying this is good image, bad image, the AI engine tries to learn this on the go, then can be implemented either on edge or cloud, which would tell you whether this the new image is good or bad, right? And based on that, you can take actions accordingly. Last one is around natural language processing. So this is where you start giving meaning to the words which are spoken, right? Now, when I speak a certain language, language of choice, let's say it's English right now, right? But if it is Hindi, if it is something else, how does machine understand, or how do whatever we are trying to do, right? We are trying to understand whatever is being communicated between us. That intelligence we try to give it to the machine, right? So these are the different types of algorithm groups which could be used for building different AI engines, right? Now, generally, what we have seen is AI doesn't work standalone, right? It needs to work in conjunction with other technologies, and AI happens to be just a technology and a tool, right? When a customer comes to us, people are not looking for AI solutions. They're coming up with a problem statement, and they want solutions, right? AI happens to be the core component of the solution, but not the only component, right? So what are the other components? If we look at AI, generally what we have seen is data is extremely important. Now this data to build a AI solution could be either in a structured format or it could be in unstructured format, right? So a structured format is generally your tabular data, what you see in your Excel, SQLs, and other such databases. Unstructured data is generally your images, sounds, text, all of these, right? Now, all of them the idea is first create a democratized data source or a single source of truth from where the consumption of this data can happen seamlessly, right? So this can be done using multiple open source tool or public cloud service providers. You could use services from AWS, Azure, GCP. There are open source tools and platforms available like Apache Spark, Databricks, all of them, right? And idea is you create a layer of data which is a single source of truth and where the data is coming from different data sources, right? Now, let's say in just context of manufacturing, generally the data could be your quality data, it could be your process data, it could be your ERP data, it could be your product lifecycle management data, it could be your data coming from sales, right? How do I bring this all together, give meaning to it, put it in one single place, right? That is what data layer does. Second is the building of insights around data, right? That is pulling out what is my data saying, right? Generally in manufacturing, what we say is manufacturing is data rich and information poor, right? Why is this? Because again, this data is not put to right use. So how do we put to right use? One of the first thing generally when we get data, and customers also like to see this in the journey, is see what is the data saying, right? So if I'm looking at a manufacturing or a plant data, I would want to see first what is my plant producing, right? How much did it produce today compared to yesterday? How much did it produce today compared to last month, to last year, so on and so forth, right? Those are called visualization layers or simple BI solutions, right? Now, what is AIML then? So AIML example could be like a predictive asset maintenance, right? So I have a critical machinery, let's say a boiler, uh, which I've invested a lot of money to buy. Idea is I will make it work as much as possible, right? Or maximum uptime is what I want from that machine. So what do I do? I'll see the unplanned downtime data. Whenever that machine has gone down, I will look at that data, try to create a historical data set which supports this relationship of downtime, and then build underlying relationship using machine learning, and then create some kind of a predictive maintenance solution which will tell me in advance what is the remaining useful life of the asset of the boiler, when will it fail, based on what changes in variables it will fail, right? So that is a simple application of AIML in context of a manufacturing world, right? Now, how is this done? Again, you have all your cloud providers. You could use AWS SageMaker, Azure Machine Learning. You could use GCP, or the usual choice of tool is Python, is what we've seen. And you could use underlying libraries like TensorFlow, PyTorch, right? And all of this. And for simple visualization, you could look probably at Tableau, Power BI, ClickView, so on and so forth, right? Now, this is not where the solution is already finished. The finishing of the solution happens at the interface layer, right? That is the how is the final customer consuming, right? You've created the underlying intelligence, but how is the customer consuming, right? So you have to deploy it back in whichever consumption point client is asking for or customer is asking for. Generally in a B2C case, it will be in a mobile app or a web application, which is where this tool is plugged. But in case of enterprise application, this could be ERP, this could be CRM, this could be feature in one of the applications which they've already developed for their organization, right? So you could do these application using Angular, Django. You could do containerization of application using Kubernetes. Again, different choices are available for the technology, and this is how you stitch together a solution, and this is how a complete solution using AI is formed, right? Now, if I again talk about how does AI work in real world, I'll just explain a little more. Let's assume I'm Amazon and already this feature is there. Let's say I'm trying to build this feature that image search is what I want to build, right? Every time typing out is very difficult. Sometimes I don't know the name of the item which I'm searching. So what I'll do is, let's say if the item is lying in front of me, I'll just take a picture and want to do a search within all the Amazon SKUs, right? Now, this is an idea at this point, right? So how do I execute this? Correct. So one is the AI algorithm which I have to build, but there is a complete software system engineering which is required to build this, right? So starting from here, probably, right? When I actually start planning on where will this feature come, in how many months will I build this, usually for what category do I build this first, right? So on and so forth. Then you probably create the code around it. How will the UI look like, what will happen after the result is shown, so on and so forth. And then actually you will start seeing this data and start building a model around it, right? So you will start collecting enough number of images, uh, put them in a training, start seeing the results of the models, try out different algorithms to see what algorithm gives you what kind of results, try to get a best algorithm out for both accuracy as well as simplicity, right? And then kind of integrate it back into the software engineering world, and then evaluate, build it, and then you start releasing it, right? in the first release itself, there could be a lot of challenges. The way people are taking photos, it could be in a dark environment, right? So again, the image acquired is pretty poor. So see all those things, learn, and then again change your code accordingly. So usually it takes a couple of iterations to build a successful product, and that's when you scale it to probably all the customers and in multiple geographies. So again, what I wanted to say in a nutshell is AI standalone doesn't work. You need to understand the periphery of it also. It's extremely important. You need to understand what data on which AI is built. Obviously, you need to understand what are the AI algorithms. You also need to sometimes understand the data engineering, software engineering world, right? Now, coming back to what are the kind of applications. So let me cover a couple of them. Let's say in finance, credit scoring is one of the most famous applications is what we have seen. This is to assess the risk of a person defaulting, right? So when we apply for a credit card, sometimes we don't get it. There is a reason behind it, because what happens is based on our application and also based on the data collected from various social media channels and from other transactions of ours, generally the bank which is giving this credit card out is also creating some kind of a risk model. And if we fall high on the risk graph, obviously we are denied a credit card application, credit card, right? A simple application in finance. Similarly, in case of automobiles, you would have heard of ADAS or autonomous driving. All of it is working on computer vision and AI world, right? Which is there's a camera within the automobile. The automobile sees what's on the road, understands if it's safe to go or not safe to go, right? It needs to stay within the lanes, so it has to identify where are the lanes, where are the boundaries of the lanes, and try to steer the car within those boundaries. All of these happen to be automobile applications. Manufacturing applications, a lot of them. I will cover one two later. Gaming, how do the gaming companies engage you? At what point do they give you more points, right? What time do they sell you more features, right? If you're playing a certain game, what else can they recommend you? And what do they make you buy in-app purchases, so on and so forth, right? In healthcare, a lot of applications in again vision. Whatever we see through X-ray, CT scan, MRI, all of them, we are at this point trying to train AI engines to learn from doctors and give them some kind of a augmentation support, right? As in suggest doctor, okay, this is where the tumor is, this is malignant, this is active, so on and so forth, right? You could give a lot of suggestions to the doctors, and a lot of diagnosis can be done through healthcare AI applications, right? I'll quickly cover one of the applications which we had done with our client. This happened to be in a space of FMCG. So the customer was producing sanitary napkins, right? One of the biggest brands in the world. Now, if I look at the product, its product is nothing but different layers of fabric coming together. What happens is once these fabrics are aligned, they are cut into right shape, then they are stitched, then there is a brand embossment done, right? During all these different phases of manufacturing, there could be cuts, there could be tears, there could be missing stitches, there could be, while brand is embossed, it could be misplaced, there could be splatter of ink, right? All these cases is what results in a bad product. Now, general process was that there are QC operators who are looking at these products at random samples. Let's say every 1 hour they're looking at one batch, and they're seeing if the production is fine, if there are defects, no defects, if yes defects, what kind of defects are there, and what severity of defects are there, right? Now the challenge with this kind of a system or a human based quality operation is this, right? A person will not perform the same way during the day. If he has eaten a heavy lunch, he will obviously slow down. If it is during the night shift, obviously human is not made to perform best in those conditions, right? There could be fatigue, there could be distraction, and there could be other kind of challenges with humans. So what we did was to augment the human capability. We designed a computer vision system. Now there is a industrial camera, industrial lens, industrial lighting, which acquires this image, right? And it passes this on to a AI model. What this AI model, which has been already trained using different techniques, it is able to first detect whether there is a defect or not, right? First step is that. Second step is what kind of a defect is it? Is it a tear? Is it a hole? Is it a ink splatter? Is it a stitch missing? Is it a fold due to misalignment of the fabric? Right. All these defects were detected. Also, we could detect what is the severity of the defect. So we could categorize them into highly severe, normal severe, okay, right? So this was the solution which was given to the client. Client was super happy with it. The kind of results which we got out of it was this was more than 99% accurate. We reduced the time consumed by the manpower by less than 80%. The performance of the model or the solution was within a 1 second window. So within 1 second, we could look at a product and we could tell whether there's a defect or not and what kind of a defect, if there is a defect, right? And we could increase the speed uh, of QC by more than 8 times. So this is one of the interesting work which we have done for a CPG or a FMCG customer, right? This is one more work which we have done for a big wind energy player in Scandinavian region, right? Now, wind turbines by design are placed away from urban centers. These are tall machines, right? Most of you would have seen it now with the emergence of green technologies, right? Everybody is trying to adopt them, and they're tall, 60 to 100 meters tall machines, right? And most of the machinery is actually placed on the top, which is called the nasal, right? And it is a very complex machinery, and the challenge is when it fails, right? Because it's away from an urban center, how do you send an engineer so far to fix it? Second is because it's a complex machinery, if let's say the part which fails is not available in your inventory, then the downtime is very high. One is the problem with the downtime. Second is the effect on the grid because of this particular wind turbine not producing. There's an effect on the grid as well, right? So the challenge, what we intend to solve was how do we increase the uptime or reduce the downtime, unplanned downtime, right? So what we did was first analyzed what are the different components which are failing, which is causing the highest amount of downtime, right? So we found out there are 20 different reasons which is causing downtime, and out of three were the reasons which are causing the highest downtime. Now, looking at these three, we started trying to look at what are the process parameters which are impacting these three different component failures. We also augmented it with weather data and external data, right? And then we built models which then could identify at least a week before the actual failure of the component happened that there's a high chance that a failure is coming up. So we would send up a maintenance engineer to have a look at it, and post deployment of the solution, the machine uptime was definitely improved. Not only that, but maintenance costs were reduced and manual interventions were reduced, right? Which definitely improved the plant efficiency and consistency, and also helped customers to generate uninterrupted powers, right? So that was the use of this application. Now changing gears, moving towards what are the careers available within AI, right? So if I talk about from top, what are the different jobs available? So different companies sometimes have different notations in terms of how they name the job title. It could be as simple as machine learning engineers, right? Where you're actually building machine learning algorithms, looking at data, creating different algorithms day in, day out, right? Data scientist is a little broader term, which would have a little bit of data engineering as well as data science aspect. Data science could have machine learning aspects built within it, or there could be as simple as things like doing visualization layers, doing analysis using running simple SQL queries or creating pivot tables, so on and so forth. The idea for a data scientist is they're looking at data to create insights out of it, right? Third is data engineers. So generally data engineer job is wherever my data is, right? How do I bring this to data scientists in a consumable form? Because data scientist is not someone who can go to data and bring it. So data engineers is someone who clean the data, who massage the data, who process the data, who pipeline the data, they do ETL of it. Let's say there are 10 or 20 different sources in 10 different geography the data is lying. How do I bring it to the data science in a more consumable fashion? And then from there on, data scientists can take over. Right? That's the job of a data engineer. Then software engineers definitely are required to, let's say if you're creating a product around AI, so software engineers need to know what are the outputs of the AI, what inputs are going into the AI, how it how the outputs needs to be shown to the consumer, so on and so forth, right? Architect and product managers are one and the same. They need to know when to use AI, right? When to use data engineers, when to use software engineers, what all available components, what time, how to use them, right? Without knowledge of AI ML, probably a product manager won't know exactly when to use, when not to use, right? And if you start using in very simple scenarios where a simple cross tabulation of data could have given you the output, and if you start building AI model for that, that's not a very good use of time and the resources, right? Now, what kind of skills are required to get these jobs, right? The first skill I would call out is always problem formulation, right? Defining the problem scope or the boundaries, understanding what is the core problem which we're trying to solve, and what is and how is that we want to unlock value, right? For every problem there is a solution, and for every problem we need not have a AI solution, right? To know when to use, when not to use is extremely important. Second is definitely programming. There's no two ways about it, right? If you're not someone who is very good at programming, and if you say I want to become an AI engineer, thanks, but it doesn't work that way, right? You have to be good at programming. There are multiple tools. It could be Python, R, or other tools through which you could use. Your choice of language is definitely appreciated, but programming is a definite skill which is required, right? Then understanding of machine learning, right? So machine learning, one is calling out different algorithms. Second is knowing what is going behind, right? When to use supervised learnings, when to use unsupervised learnings, what do you use, what statistical tests can you use, what is the output of it saying, right? What is mean mean, what does variance mean? So the mathematics and the statistics behind it, it's always helpful to know it. Yes, you can build AI models without knowing them, but knowing them, you can build much better models always, right? Fourth one is around the area of deep learning. Deep learning is the more recent techniques which have emerged after availability of a lot of cloud computing. So generally, how does your neural network model work? How deep do you need to make? How many incoming and outgoing nodes do you create? So on and so forth. And how do you measure the performance it, right? This is more on the algorithm side. Then coming to the database world, right? There are so many database companies out there, right? There is Oracle, there is SQL, there is Azure, AWS, GCP. Everybody has a database system going, right? So how do you plug to these different databases? How do you pull this data? All this knowledge is extremely important for folks who are looking at AI jobs, right? You need to understand how to explore data. What are the rows? What are the features? How much data is there? Is it a wrong data? If it is wrong data, how do we clean this, right? And eventually, whatever insights you bring out of this data, you need to play out a story, right? As in, this is what the data is saying, this is what it is giving you the insight, and this needs to be clearly communicated to the end customer, right? What is also important is communication skill. Without the right communication skill, even if you build best of the models, it becomes very extremely difficult to communicate what is that you have done. Right? Now, there's a concept of skill elasticity, right? Skill elasticity, the way I define as elasticity in terms of physics, right, can be defined on two vectors. One is, let's say, how far can I stretch a material? The second is how fast can I stretch a material, right? Now, idea is all the skills, how far do you take them and how fast do you build, right? I would say programming and machine learning is something which you need to go really deep, right? But all the other skills, you need not go very deep, but you need to go wide, right? As in, you need to know multiple things within them, but the core pieces, which is programming, machine learning, deep learning, is where you have to go very deep, right? So that's about AI jobs available. And I would request everyone to keep sending in questions in chat. So as soon as I can see it, or towards the end of it, I can probably start taking them, right? Now, talking about, oh, what are the salaries, right? We Indians love this, right? कि कितना देती है, whether it's mileage or salaries, right? So this is your general salaries in India, I would say. It ranges from anything from 8 lakhs per annum to 40 lakhs per annum, I would say, for people between 2 to 15 years of experience, right? Obviously, there are anomalies. You could always come to me and say, Sir, आपने तो ये बोला था, but this guy gets so much, right? But yeah, all of that do happen, but these are the average numbers. So obviously, with salaries, AI is definitely one of the places which are high paying jobs, right? And there are always incentive components or bonus components of it. And a lot of salary factors depend also on what is your background, what kind of colleges you have done, what kind of problems you have solved, is it in demand, not demand, what kind of vertical expertise do you have, along with whatever you know, right? Where are these jobs located at this point? In India, if I have to talk primarily, it is in Bangalore, happens to be the number one place. Second is Delhi, NCR, Gurgaon within Delhi is a good place to be. Mumbai, Hyderabad, Pune, and Chennai. Right? This is where at least the jobs currently are going. And a very interesting piece of information, probably which I would want to share with you. Uh, a lot of companies after COVID have started giving flexible work, and presently at Affine, we also do work from anywhere policy, which means all of our team members can work from anywhere in India. So right now I'm placed in Goa, though I'm based out of Bangalore, but for last couple of months I'm working out of Goa, right? So that kind of flexibility also organizations are offering. And obviously, if you want to check out a fine opportunities or kind of job openings which are available, you could write to us at careers@affine.ai, or you can check our website affine.ai. At right now, there are 200 plus openings in data engineering as well as data science world. So any of you, if you're interested, please have a look or refer your families and friends, right? Now with that, if you ask me where is this all going, right? What is the future? So again, there are some numbers here. I wouldn't hold anyone for the numbers. Different publication worlds offer different numbers. So this is one of the number which I came across, right? By 2026, there will be at least 1 CR plus jobs, which are in and around data science. This was published by Economic Times, right? I would say there will be much more than this. And I'd be surprised if AI is not impacting at least $1 trillion of GDP, right, for the globe. Right? So that's the kind of impact AI is going to have on the dollar as well as the number of jobs which are getting produced, right? Now, if you ask me what is going to happen 10 years down the line, probably these are some of the again interpretations of the futuristic people, right? Uh, truck implementation, probably we will have machines driving the truck autonomously even before cars start moving in a public world, right? Automatically, I would consider trucks to be the first one doing autonomous driving. We would see probably algorithms making tunes, songs, a complete song probably, and then we will have robots which would take up the job of retail salesperson in recommending you based on whatever questions you have them, right? If you go and ask them 10 megapixel camera, this is my specification, this is what I want, they will tell you, why don't you look at this phone, right? And similarly, if you have any other specification in terms of a retail person, always a retail bot can do that job, but this all will happen in future. There are companies which are already building solutions in this space. Partial solutions are already ready. You can definitely explore and check Affine's website also. We do have solutions in gaming and retail too. And also we would start looking at uh, someone writing novels using AI. AI can already start putting some content out there, though that is not very meaningful and relevant. But nonetheless, there are always folks who are trying it out. And as these algorithms improve, right, over time, we would see more meaningful stuff coming out of a pen of a AI engine, right? So with that, I will take a quick break and I'll open the floor for Q&A and request anyone if they have any questions, I can take that. Okay, there is a question from Dinesh which says which type of domain are getting more benefited from AI and how data maturity is for different domains. Very interesting question. So I would say high tech companies, right? Probably Google's, Microsoft, Apple, Fang, Mang, whatever you call them, right? Metas of the world. have a lot of data. They're investing very deeply in these technologies, so they are the top guys who are more mature in consuming AI. And obviously, because they come from the tech world, so they understand and the importance of storing data well and using data in a right form. So those are the first ones. Then probably you could look at retail, you could look at telecom. Uh, Manufacturing is slowly picking up, and manufacturing is little late to the party, right? In between, you would say there is retail, e-commerce is also picking up. So all high-tech, digitally native companies uh, are benefiting a lot and adopting this very fast, but other verticals are also not behind. And if you guys happen to be from some domain, obviously you can explore how to use this solution in your domain, and you can always reach out to us also for exploring them or for just a simple chat and a brainstorming session. Any other question?
Aditya is raising his hand. Yeah, Aditya, you can ask.
Hi, Ravi.
Yes, Aditya.
Very good afternoon. As I just wanted to ask one thing in this before progressing further in AI domain. So, do we need to learn about machine learning, data scientists? So, these are the initial programs we have to do. Then only we can do it, or else we can directly jump on to the AI. So,
Yeah. So Aditya, I would say machine learning, the mathematics behind machine learning and little bit of programming always helps. But let's say if you are in a place where you are creating business solutions, right? You need not
yeah,
know everything about it. You need to know at least some basics, right? What machine learning algorithms can be used. You need not know the math behind it, them, but you need to know what is the difference between clustering to a logistic regression to a decision tree to probably a deep learning, right? And
sure.
generally, what kind of data is structured data, what kind of data is unstructured data. When I say SQL data, what does that mean? If I say a data lake, what does that mean, right? Blob storage, what does that mean? That helps always, right? And for people who
Yeah,
are early in their career, they would have to learn this. No two ways about it.
absolutely. I got it. And the thing I just wanted to know that is it mandatory to do that full-time programs or just an overview we can learn about it?
So this is an interesting question, right? And I have a
Yeah,
certain view. It might not resonate with everyone's view out there, right? Because there's no definite answer to this at this point, right? So my 2 cents is this, right? As long as you can create meaningful solutions, right? You need not do a full-time course. For any emerging technologies, generally what happens is uh, there are no standard courses, right? At least 5, 6 years back, when I see there are no courses offered by any institutes at all, right? There are only some
yeah,
private institutes and some private individuals who are taking these courses. Now, slowly, there are institutes which have started giving this educational degree. But again, it always helps to go through
yeah,
a structure. But if you've already couple of years experience, you already understand and you feel you can learn on your own, you can do it, solve Kaggle challenges, you can show them as results on your resume, and you can build meaningful products and also demo them, right, in your interviews, and probably you should
exactly.
get them. Yeah, so you
So
need
Ravi,
not go
as
through
a
a structure.
yeah, so there was some coaching institutes I've just searched on Google, like Upgrad and all.
Mhm.
So as I've just spoken with them, so those people are just telling that first of all you need to learn about machine learning and data science. Then only you can progress into AI. So you
True.
can't directly jump into AI because we need a something basic knowledge about machine learning and data
Yeah.
scientists. Yeah, so as right now also you have told the same thing, but the thing is that as you have told right now to have a just and short overview, but those people are just telling that you have to complete the full-time programs of machine learning and data science. Then
No,
only
no.
you
So,
can.
Aditya,
Yeah,
two different things. I said if you are a business user, right? Let's say if I'm a Amazon product manager, right? And if I want a AI feature in my Amazon app, then I need not know exactly what machine learning algorithm I'm going to use. I need to know this is what I want, but my teammates need to know, right? Now, the question is, at what point of career are you, right? Are you already at a place where you can take business decisions? If yes, then you need to understand it on a high level, right? So there are courses, AI for managers, AI for senior leaders. You can do that, right? Second is if you are the guy who is building that feature. If you are, then you need to learn it.
sure, sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. Any other question, guys?
There is one more question on the chat from Rahul Devnath.
Okay, let me.
Will there
Yeah,
be any limit of AI in the future? Does human intelligence will have any place in AI environment in the future?
very interesting question. Again, Rahul, no definite answer to this at this point, right? But we are very far from mimicking human intelligence. We are just trying to build use case by use case, right? We are not saying we will mimic the complete human brain. That itself is we're at least a couple of decades away from it easily, right? And we will only know the answer to this as we move in this journey, right? But yes, some of the menial tasks, right? The way it's as simple as this, right? We used to wash our own clothes. Now we have washing machine. There's no AI in it. There's programming in it, but similarly, we'll have AI doing menial tasks, and then they will slowly start doing some more complex tasks. And it's very far that human will be completely replaced. The way we have to look at AI solutions right now is they will help us do our jobs better and help us unlock our time, which we can use it for better and bigger activities. Right. So that is how I would look at AI. Satish, we are right around the corner, 4:44. If I have one more question, I can take that, or I think we are good.
Hi, Ravi. One more question I'm having. Sorry for the interruption.
No
And
problem. Please go ahead.
yeah, so the thing is that could you please suggest any coaching institute? Because as I in upgrade, as I've seen the packages was too much high, which we can't afford it. So, is there any cheap and the best coaching institute which we can learn
So
better
see,
of? Yeah,
we don't promote any particular coaching institute. Everybody, see, it's a very subjective thing, right? Every coaching institute offers very different thing. One IIT to different NIT will be very different. A normal local college will be very different from IIT. That doesn't mean IIT is good, NIT is bad, NIT is good, or IIT is bad, right? Yes,
absolutely.
function of what they teach, what is relevant for you, right? First, you need to be very clear what is that you want. If you just want AI job and you want a structure for it, probably you should watch a lot of YouTube videos. You should attend a lot of such webinars. Today is one of such webinars, right? A lot of webinars already recorded and out there on YouTube and other platforms. Listen to them, understand, and be very clear about what is that you want to do. Only then a course would help, right? And course can sometimes help if you're not very sure also, because you get a structure, you get a peer group which is also pursuing similar thing, so you can bounce off ideas and pursue it. But not necessarily you have to take a any paid program as such. There are a lot of successful YouTube channels also, right? Like Datacam, there is Krish Naik, there are a couple of good guys who are doing a lot of good stuff, right? Go to Kaggle, look at people's notebooks, create solutions. I don't think paid courses is the only way forward. You can, in today's world where information is completely on Google, I don't think a lot of the structure course is required for everyone. It definitely helps though.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay, so Satish, we can call it a wrap.
Yes, yes, we can close as there is no more questions as of now. So it's
Thank-
already time also.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and please reach out to us, whether it's Satish, GMI team, or to me, right, for questions on AI or for openings, kind of openings which are in a fine. And we would love to have a conversation with you in future too. Thank you. Good day.
And we are having a kind of like hiring session at Jamshedpur. So if anybody want to meet, you can come to Ramada to meet us. It is on coming Friday and Saturday.
Please, guys, take a note of that. Coming Friday and Saturday, we are at Ramada. Please come and meet us. Okay, one last question. I see it before we close it again. Is there any certification recognized by the industry? Yes, there are certification always have little value, but no certification only can't get you a job. So you'll have to be hands-on. Certification again helps you to go in the right direction, but only certification won't get you a job if that is what you're looking for. Okay. With that remarks, I'll close this. Thank you all. Have a good day. Bye.